Larry Kelly, Port Director and CEO for the Port of Port Arthur. I'd like to welcome everyone here today to 2025 Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce Legislative Luncheon.
Well, welcome everyone. My name is Larry Kelly and I serve our community as Port Director and CEO for the Port of Port Arthur. And just real quick, I'd like to recognize a couple of our commissioners here. I was waiting till you put food in your mouth. But we have Ms. Mary Wyckoff and Mr. John Como, and I think our President Randy Martin is here somewhere. I certainly appreciate the opportunity and the honor to be able to introduce our Congressman for Texas 14, Congressman Randy Weber. I will share with you, Congressman, before last, we were very pleased to host. We had Blake and we had Jared and Hayden from your DC office. I also want to give a shout out to Janet. I saw her today. But I really appreciate your time to come down and talk about our port issues. And I think while on the tour, I think they went and saw the other ports in the area that are in your district, Sabine Pass, Orange, and Beaumont as well. Still working together. Pleased to report 3 of the ports in our area received through TxDOT funding last week at the TxDOT Commission about $10 million. So we're still plowing away for Southeast Texas. You know, when people say they need further ado or all that, it's just, I just really want to thank Congressman Weber. He leads from the front, he cares for our area, and it's really great to have Miss Brenda here too. And it's nice to have you two here, sir, but anyway, I'll certainly turn it over, but how about a round of applause for Congressman Randy Weber?
Okay, so let's start with this. Okay, as a former small business owner, please describe what the transition was like from a small business owner to now public servant and why you made the transition.
I was a one-man AC guy with a bottle of Freon, set of gauges and tools, and working up a pickup truck, working at my garage. We put flyers out everywhere, we put advertisements out everywhere, and slowly but surely we built it to 10 technicians. I sold it in July of 2017. Some of you business owners out there will understand this. I sold it with kind of mixed emotions. Joy and happiness. Some of y'all get that. So having a good business background and working for American citizens, better than that working for Texans, better than that working for Southeast Texas, you know, was an absolute joy. With a business background, you go there, you know, money's on trees. You know that people have what they call supper table discussions about how they're going to pay the rent, what the price of milk, price of gasoline, eggs, and so on and so forth. So a business background for me was really, really helpful when it comes time to the legislation.
Okay, so you're a member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee. What type of issues and legislation come before this committee?
That's a great question. If you read the Constitution, there's only two committees mentioned, Energy and Commerce, and then Ways and Means. And then it says Congress can add other committees from time to time as they see fit. Well, Commerce, Energy and Commerce, we have 60% of the bills come through our committee in the House of Representatives. That's how wide a purview we have. And if you want to make it really simple, it has anything to do with energy. And I meant to ask this question as I was mingling earlier. Do we have any energy in Southeast Texas? I mean, and also commerce. And some of y'all have not heard me say this before. We currently have 7 ports in District 14. All right? We have 3 LNG plants. Actually, we have 4 because I claim from Cheniere Energy over on the Louisiana coast there. And we produce 65% of the nation's jet fuel, 80% of the nation's military-grade fuel, and we have 60% of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in our district. So we get a lot of things come before our committee, Energy and Commerce, that has to do with regulations. We're trying to get pipeline regulations streamlined. How many of y'all think we're waiting 4, 5, 6 years to get a permit is too long? That's way too long. So those kinds of things, energy, commerce, that has to do with telecommunication, like go right down the list, anything that has to do with commerce. If it moves, you know, Ronald Reagan was the reason I got into Congress, because he believed in American exceptionalism, he believed in business. And he once said that the government's philosophy can be summed up with 3 phrases. If it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. If it stops moving, subsidize it. So some of you business owners, I'm thinking, no, we want businesses to stand on their own. We don't want a government that gets in the way. And that's been my behest on this committee. Make sure that energy is safe, clean, affordable, reliable, and that we can get it done for Americans. And y'all know this. Southeast Texas is the shining part in Texas where we have refined all kinds of energy, all kinds of products, and the rest of the nation depends on us.
Well, is there anything that you foresee being an issue that will be discussed or something that's going to be in that committee?
Anything that's going to be discussed on Energy and Commerce Committee, how much time do you have? Oh, I have extra time? Yeah. Yeah, we are discussing pipeline permitting. We are discussing new energy plans. Some of y'all are hearing about all of the stuff that's coming over here in terms of AI and also the plans we're bringing here for all the data centers and stuff like that. We have got to bring our energy platform up. And most of y'all are going to know, if not all of you, that Texas, there's 9 electrical grids, power grids in the United States. And Texas, we have our own power grid. And so we're going to be working, and some of y'all that don't know, Texas is the #1 wind energy state in the country and #2 solar panel energy state in the country. So we believe in wind energy and solar energy, and we do have 2 nuclear power plants. What we want to see happen is that the legislation that comes before us will streamline authorization of pipeline, will streamline permits, whether it's a nuclear plant for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, NRC. No matter what it is, we actually want those permits, Jennifer, to work in permit, because you might have U.S. Fish and Wildlife, you might have EAP, you might have DOE, you might have some of those alphabet soup agencies, they call it, that have to get a permit put in place. And we're saying, look, all of that permitting needs to run parallel. There's absolutely no reason that permitting should be stretched out 5, 6, or more years. So that's one of the big legislative items we will have. Also making sure that LNG is affordable, reliable, and we can actually export it around the world. The world is hurting when the United States doesn't export energy. The world hurts because they have to pay upper prices, whether it's from the Russians or some of the other countries. And there's no reason on God's green earth that we shouldn't be producing that energy and we shouldn't be selling that abroad. That's a lot of the discussion we'll have. Well, get that out there. There you go. There you go. So that's going to be a lot of our discussion. We also do have purview over Medicaid and Medicare, despite what you've heard in the last several months, almost a year. We're not cutting Medicaid. We're not cutting Medicare. Now, what did we do with the One Big Beautiful Bill? On the Medicaid scene, we took all of the illegals off of it, almost $1 million something. We also decided that if there were able-bodied working men on Medicaid, they need to have a work requirement. Now, listen to this. They should be working not 40 hours a week, but a minimum of 20 hours a week. So we want to fix the Medicaid, the Medicare, the section, and you know that the president, the One Big Beautiful Bill, we're working on trying to cut. There's no reason seniors, of which I am one, I'm 71 years old, there's no reason in which we have seniors have to pay tax on the Social Security that they pay to put in to Social Security. Y'all agree? Okay, come on, I have yourself worked up. So that's some of the big ones.
Okay. Well, and you mentioned a big, beautiful bill. Is there anything that stands out that benefits Southeast Texas as a whole?
Oh gosh, how much time do we have? Let me give you some of the examples. Actually we delivered the largest tax cut. It was the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act when President Trump was in the first time, which was set to expire, right? So we had to renovate that and get it back up and running again. It is the largest tax cut for middle and working class Americans in the United States history. Let that sink in. The largest tax cut in United States history for middle and working class Americans. Some people want to say, oh, it's just for the billionaires. Let me address that if I can. When you think about some of these billionaires that got all this money, whether it's from Big Pharma, whether it's from media, Facebook, or whatever, they didn't get that kind of money by being illiterate with the tax code. So what do? Thank you, sir. They hire CPAs. They have accountants. They have people that work for them that can make sure that when they invest that money, they get it in the best return for the least amount of tax. Does that make sense? And so this is not that we're trying to kick the working, make tax of the billionaires a tax break. This is about the working class, middle class, and working class Americans. So we are actually, again, we're letting the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act go forward another 4 years. You know this, there's now no tax on overtime, no tax on tips, and no tax on seniors and security debts in the bill. Retroactive to 2025, by the way. It's basically allowing American workers to keep more of their hard-earned money. Well, there's a novel thought. Let Americans keep their money. Also, y'all probably know, part of the bill was that Made in America automobiles. If you buy a Made in America automobile, I'm a Ford guy. Any Ford guys out there? All right. Any pickup guys out there? Y'all be Chevy, Ford, Dodge, whatever. Okay, that's more in Southeast Texas, you bet. So there's no reason why we buy a vehicle in the United States, and of course we're going to get, if you're going to finance it, then we don't pay tax on that vehicle as long on the interest of the bill, as long as the vehicle's made in America. This bill expands the child tax credit for 40 million families. We were just talking about having kids earlier. If you have kids, you want that child tax credit, and so we've expanded that to include another 40 million families. Let that sink in. Also it builds a financial security for America's children at birth with the creation of a Trump newborn investment account. You can set money aside for a newborn as an investment, and you don't pay tax on it. Man, that's a win-win-win for the kids that have grown up and for the family that made the money. It delivers school choice and expands access to Pell Grants to be used for high-quality, short-term vocational. I should have delegated these. I'll give these pages. Technical-based education programs that will deliver high-paying and fulfill critical workforce gaps. High-paying workforce gaps. Does that sound familiar? You can get out of high school here at the age of 17 or 18. You can go to work for one of our great plants or refineries as long as you keep your nose clean. You don't have a drug habit or drug history. And you can be without some, maybe post-secondary education, you can be making $70,000, $80,000 a year with all the benefits, retirement, Social Security, 401k. And if you get overtime, you can be making close to $100,000. This is a great, how many of y'all think Southeast Texas is a great place to live? This is a great place. This is a great place to live. Small businesses, Made in America tax breaks makes 100% expensing of permanent and immediate for new factories, factory improvements, this is important, equipment, and research and development. Why do I say equipment is important? When I owned an air conditioning company, I would buy a service van, and for whatever reason, the present tax code back then was you had to expense it all 5 years at a time. In other words, 5 years. Well, look, if I bought a service van, let's say it cost $30,000, and I paid cash for it. Well, why don't I get that deduction immediately for that year rather than having to stretch it out 5 years? I paid cash for it. Well, this is what this does. You get 100% expensing permanent immediate on those kinds of purchases. It increases the standard deduction. Any of y'all here do your own income tax, and you see that you want to take the standard deduction. If you've looked at that form, you want to take the standard deduction. By the way, we also did not expend the IRS. Can you give us a hand on that? I heard a great story about the IRS here a while back. The IRS comes to work one day, and they get a letter from this guy. They open it up, and in the letter he says, I cheated on my income tax last year. And ever since then, I haven't been able to sleep. So here's a check for $400. And if that doesn't help, I'll send the rest. Some of y'all will get that. We're making sure that more American taxpayers keep their hard-earned money, bottom line. It doubles the small business expensing and limit for small businesses. Now, I said I bought a van for $30,000. It doubles the small business expensing and limit up to $2.5 million. I mean, we were a small outfit. But imagine a company that has 30, 40, 50 vehicles or they have that kind of expense. It permanently renews and strengthens opportunity zones, which we would love in our area, unlocking $100 billion with a B dollar of investment and $1 million jobs for rural and distressed communities. These are the things that the One Big Beautiful Bill does. And I'll jump over, I'll leave it at that on One Big Beautiful Bill. We can talk about the border or something else coming up.
Well, you mentioned that you have 7 ports in your district, and everyone in this room knows how important ports are to our region. So why don't you tell us what you and your staff have done personally for the ports in this region?
Okay, I can do that. County Judge Jeff Browning, you still here? When I first got elected, the judge here helped me. He brought me under his wing here, and he brought me over to this port, this area. Larry, where'd you live? Right over there he is, Larry, right there. And they taught me about ports, and we worked and worked and worked to try to get money. Some of y'all probably know the Sabine Neches Waterway is the second largest, longest waterway in the Gulf of America, I should say. Now, that's what, don't tell President Trump this. That's one area I actually didn't agree with him in. I didn't think he should have changed it to the Gulf of America. I thought he should have changed it to the Gulf of Texas. I'm just saying. But we worked and worked and worked to get dredging out. And you had to give the Sabine Neches Navigation District credit because, we did 7 ports, starting all the way over to the Port of Freeport, which we're going to lose in redistricting, it looks like. Unfortunately, we'll have 6 ports. Still more than the other member of Congress. Some have 4. We will have 6 at that point. If the governor signs the bill into law and it passes the legal scrutiny. And so we worked and worked and worked to get dredging, but not just that port, but also the Port of Galveston, the Port of Texas City. There's some other ports too. You had to give the Sabine Neches Navigation District credit because they ponied up 40%. Now, most of the agencies that you deal with pony up about 25% of the federal government to come in with the rest. They went to work, they did the math, and they figured that we can do this quicker and sooner, and average can make more money quicker in the long run by doing this now. So let's give the Sabine Neches Navigation District a hand, shall we? I was looking for the amount of money because we've been back and forth on with the spending for the appropriations. Let me see if I don't have that figure. I'll give you an exact dollar that we actually caught up. Let me see here. Somewhere I thought I had it written down. It was about, I think, $9 million this go around. It's $9,061,000 to the U.S. Corps of Engineers, Galveston District, for continuing the dredging of the Sabine Neches Waterway from an authorized depth of 40 feet to 48 feet. Now, boys, men and women, boys and girls, people, these are not small projects. You're watching a couple of ports, actually 3 or 4 around this area, that are embarking upon some very ambitious campaigns to make sure that they can move product in and out. Out of the 7 ports that we represent, we've put together Port of Beaumont 2. Some of you all know that the Port of Beaumont moves more military personnel and equipment out of the country than any of the other lesser ports, as I call them, the other lesser states, I should say. So we've been able to secure that kind of money. We've secured $2 million from Lamar State College, Port Arthur, to construct an industrial tractor trailer loading terminal. And I can go down the list, but I'll stick with those 2 for the time being.
And for those that have been around, we know that the Sabine Neches Navigation District has been working on that for decades. And so we appreciate you getting that across the finish line for us.
You bet, you bet.
So Most of us know that as a congressman, you offer constituent services. Please let us know what you do and the best way to reach your staff.
All right, y'all get out your big chief cat or red grill. I'm going to give you Blake Hopper's cell phone number. And by the way, your staff, because they work for you, is here. Blake, where'd you land? Janet Brown, where'd you land? Jared, where'd you land? I think that's the three of us here, right? And actually, that's not quite true. Brenda's here. She works as a constituent worker too. People know that when they want something done, they don't call me. They call Brenda Gale. So what we do, we work in a variety of areas. We are your governmental agency that works with, unfortunately, the IRS from time to time. We work with Social Security Administration. We work with the VA. We work with a whole bunch of agencies, whether you have a problem with taxes, whether you have passport problems. We actually do a lot of work on passports. We do a lot of work on immigration. People who we're trying to get into the country. We're working on one right now. I can't give you the name, but it's a guy who his wife's over in the Philippines. She has I think he said, 2-year-old son that has a brain tumor, and they're trying to get him into the United States. And so we're working with him right there. We're working with the State Department to try to get expeditious, work that we don't want to get caught up in some issues. Now, Janet Brown's the expert on this, so give her a hand, will you? And just so y'all know, folks, we're never harsh with the agencies. We never cuss and fuss, Kate. We just do the right thing. We'll call them up and say, look, can you help us here? And I've actually had some of the agencies comment on how nice and pleasant it is to work with Janet. Now, don't tell her I said that because she's going to want a raise. Okay. But some of the agencies that we deal with, we also Department of Energy, if you're moving energy, EPA, if you've got EPA issues, whatever they might be, we are your resource. Please reach out to us. Let me hasten to add, we're not always 100% successful. Some people think you can call up and tell the IRS, they say I owe them $100,000. When you tell them that's not true, I said, we really don't have that kind of power. But really consider us your source for the government, your agency. You know, we have an office in Beaumont. You have an office in Beaumont. You have an office in Lake City. You have an office in Lake Jackson. And of course, you have your main office is up in D.C. So for us, constituent work is a very, very big deal.
So is there anything that you and your staff are working on right now or something that we may not have touched on that you would like to cover?
Well, one of the things I kind of touched on is passports. Every year we have at least 1 or 2 passport seminars over the Lake Jackson office because the facility is a little bit bigger. And people come in and you'd be amazed to realize, some of y'all may not know this. If you look at your passport and it says it expires, for example, let's just say July 31st, 2026, July 31st, 2026. Folks, it doesn't expire July 31st, 2026. It expires 6 months before the date it says. One of the things the State Department should do is put expiration date and end date. They won't let you leave the country because they're afraid you can't get back in within 6 months. If your passport is within 6 months, and Janet B knows this, Blake knows this, Jared knows this, Brenda Gale knows this, I know this. Sometimes we go to bat with the State Department and we say, look, can you expedite this? We've had one couple that was getting married in Mexico, Cancun, and they didn't realize that their passport was quote unquote expired and they couldn't go. So we get on the phone about a week out, a week ahead of the 1 week, and we actually got them, that cost, it does cost an extra like $160, is that for expedite? Yeah. And so it costs, so pay attention to your passport. We hold passport seminars. I would hold IRS seminars, but I don't think I can do that legally. So those are some of the things we do. We want to make sure that you know that we are your agency. If you've got a bid, we have gone back and dug up a lot of Veterans Administration papers. Somebody will say, Randy, My dad was in the Army, or my cousin or uncle or whatever, and he never got his discharge papers, or he never got his medals. And we can interface with the Veterans Administration, and we can you'd be surprised. Oh, you'd be surprised. The way we feel so gratified when you hand off papers or medal to somebody whose husband or uncle or brother-in-law or brother has served this military. By the way, can all of our military, those who serve, can y'all stand up? Can y'all stand up? Come on, can y'all stand up? If you serve. So, thank you. That's one of the services we provide.
I just want to do one last thing. It's not on my script, but you mentioned it earlier with redistricting. What would your new district look like if everything goes through?
Well, with redistricting, how many of y'all here, or if you know, live in District 36, Dr. Davin's district? There's got to be a number that lives in District 36. Okay, a few of y'all. And so right now what's happening is he's going to lose, is it not hard, Liberty County. He's going to lose Liberty County. I've got these maps. I keep trying to enlarge them so I don't have to use, but not magnifying glass to read them. He's going to get a little bit more of Jefferson County. We're still going to have Orange County, kind of the bottom half, if you will, of Jefferson County. We don't have any of Chambers. Well, actually, Chambers County, some of y'all probably know, comes down to the water's edge, about a half a mile width, give or take. I don't think there's any houses in there after Hurricane Ike. 2 cows, unless it's mating season, then there's 3 cows. And then we pick up a tiny strip of Chambers, and then we go and we get all of Galveston County. How many of y'all been on Baltimore Peninsula? Crystal Beach. Brenda used to go to Crystal Beach when she was in high. Do we have any Newland Bulldogs here? I should have asked that. There's some proud people there. Absolutely. So we'll go right across down over into Galveston County, which is League City. We have all of Galveston County. Dr. Davin's district will come across Harris County, just north of Clear Creek, and dip into Pearland. I grew up on the north side of Pearland. And then our District 14 will come underneath him. We used to have the southern half of Missouri County, but that's going to go to Troy Nels now from Fort Bend County, Sheriff Troy Nels. We come up the other side of 288, for those of y'all who might know something about Missouri County, and we go into Fort Bend County for 5 voting precincts. So it's going to be different, but it is what it is.
I'm Charlotte Moses, Mayor of the City of Port Arthur. So glad to be here at the Chamber's Legislative Luncheon today. It was just a very informative luncheon where we were able to listen to our Congressman Randy Weber talk about Southeast Texas and some of the things that are taking place in D.C. and Washington, and making sure that we are abreast of some of the legislation that's going forward. We're thankful for what he's doing for Southeast Texas, and we appreciate some of the work that's going forth, and in particular the updates that he gave on this meeting in regards to our LNGs, and also with passports and all the things that he handles in energy. So we're thankful for that. Just thankful for the Chamber of Commerce actually putting this on to give Port Arthur and businesses an update whereby we can stay in touch and know what's taking place in our community and in our city. We're so grateful for Joe Tan and his staff, and for all of the board of directors here at the Chamber making this possible for our community. So I'm thankful as mayor to be able to be in the midst of it all and getting clarity and understanding so we can get the truth out and make sure our citizens are aware of what's really taking place. So I'm glad again to be here to just talk to you and let you know that we got to stay informed, we got to know the truth, and we have to hold people accountable for what they're doing in office. So I'm glad to be here. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.
My name is Ida Chasso, and I am the President and CEO of the Greater Orange Area Chamber of Commerce, and we appreciate the Chamber's hosting this luncheon today. It's always very interesting to be able to hear from our legislators how they help our area, help us grow, and help us anytime we have any kind of problems that we need help with. So we just really appreciate everything they do, and we love hearing from them about things that are going on in Washington that affect our area. So we appreciate being able to hear all that from them.
Jamie Smith, Jefferson County District Clerk. It was very informative attending today's legislative update. The Greater Port Arthur Chamber has done an outstanding job of letting Congressman Weber come down and update everyone on what's going on, what can we expect in the near future, and just a good way of putting the information out to the citizens. They try to make sure that the citizens of Port Arthur and Mid-County and Beaumont are well informed of the upcoming events and upcoming changes that can be taking place.
Good afternoon. I'd like to talk a little bit about the Small Business Symposium that's coming up on September 18th. We are looking forward to a day of small business development, small business training, small business motivation. We have a pop-up market that's going to happen. It's called the Expo, and it's all being held on September 19th at Central Mall in the big atrium in front of TJ Maxx. So come and see us. Call me. I'm Dana Espinal, the director of the Small Business Development Center at Lamar State College, Port Arthur. Thank you.
I'm John Como, currently serving on the Board of Commissioners at the City of Port Arthur's Port of Port Arthur. I attend these meetings quite often, and I really appreciate what the Chamber is doing as far as bringing different guests here to speak to us and inform us as to what's going on, not only locally but nationally. I think Congressman Weber did a wonderful job today in doing an overview of all of the things he's helped us with. He's very instrumental with the port in helping us get grants to continue the growth of the port. So we support him and hope things keep going well.
I'm Sean Granger with the Port Arthur EDC, Workforce and Community Development. We just got through attending the legislation luncheon. Great information by Councilmember Weber and a great job by the Port Arthur Chamber and their staff on putting on another excellent event.